We have some more NHL trades to discuss. The Habs have picked up another defenseman. The Flames have also traded Sam Bennett. The Jets have picked up a defenseman. And we have a little bit more to talk about as well. We'll jump into the latest coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. Now, I believe this might be our last recap here, trade video, I believe. We'll see. If I missed anything, there may be more, but I believe the trades we're going to talk about here today in this video will cover the remainder that what has not been covered so far for the NHL Trade Deadline 2021 edition here. Now, first up, the Habs have acquired another veteran depth defenseman here. They picked up Eric Gustafsson from the Philadelphia Flyers in exchange for a 2022 7th-round pick, and obviously the Flyers also retain half of his salary as well to make it more affordable. So the Flyers move on from Gustafsson. That didn't really work very well there. We saw Gustafsson play for the Flames last year and be traded at the deadline 2 years in a row to a Canadian team here. So for Montreal, he's a guy who can move the puck. He has some good offensive skills. We saw him really come out with some solid offensive numbers a few years ago in Chicago, which kind of put up his price, and then he's kind of had a hard time kind of duplicating that. But not the greatest defensively, a little bit of a one-trick pony. But if they want to have him on to play a small amount of third-pair minutes and help out on a power play or something like that, he can be of value. I'm not sure where he'll slot in their lineup. Obviously, with Ben Sherratt being hurt, they could use some help. They lost Victor Mete on waivers to the Ottawa Senators today too. But of course, he wasn't their only pickup either. So it'll be interesting to see where he fits in the Habs organization. But they get themselves another defenseman. And of course, the Flames have finally traded Sam Bennett. That deal's been rumored for numerous amount of weeks now, since it was brought out on Saturday headlines by Elliot Friedman that Bennett and Victor Mete, both who are both represented by the same agent, both those players had wanted a trade to get a new fresh start and better opportunity elsewhere. And even though both GMs kind of bucked the idea of making trades, they've both done that today. So Bennett goes to the Florida Panthers, and they get back a second-round pick, as well as Emil Heineman, who was a 2020 second-round draft choice just past last summer here. So basically, they get the equivalent of 2 second-round picks. So as difficult as it is to say, they actually get a better return on Sam Bennett than Buffalo did on Taylor Hall, which is kind of a head-scratcher, which is... it goes to show you what the league thinks of Taylor Hall, or maybe the Sabres just weren't, I don't know, maybe being too hard on what they want. I don't know. You would think if there's a better deal out there, they would have taken it. I know Hall, to some degree, also controlled the situation because of his no-move clause, but that's what happens when you give players the control. And sometimes you can't always get what's best for you. You have to do what's best for the player because they have to agree to it. And it just really didn't work out. So the Sabres didn't get a great return on Taylor Hall. I mean, you probably all heard the video before of owner Terry Pegula about signing Taylor Hall in the offseason, saying if they sign him, they're going to be a Stanley Cup contender, and they are nowhere near it. They're at the bottom of the league, trading him and many other players here ahead of the NHL Trade Deadline, which is quite a drastic, fall from grace here. So obviously, good return for Sam Bennett in Calgary. Florida gets another gritty forward who they've been rumored to want to add to the forward group there. So that's a great pickup. He'll help them with that playoff style of game. Always played his best hockey for the Flames in the playoffs. So Sam Bennett trade is officially done. Now, the Winnipeg Jets also had a very quiet day. Not something we were expecting here, but they did pick up a defenseman, Jordy Benn from Vancouver, who was not in COVID protocol, so he's able to make arrangements to get to Winnipeg here right away. Obviously, the Jets were rumored to wanting to be adding something more substantial to their blue line. Many feel that they kind of didn't get the job done here, that Jordy Benn's an okay pickup, but they needed to have somebody who could play higher in the lineup and maybe have Ben as that second piece they picked up to play lower in the lineup. I mean, he will help a bit, but did they do enough is the big question in Winnipeg. They have an awesome goaltender and a great forward group that's very deep. If their blue line was a little stronger, they'd be considered a little bit more of a legit cup contender. But, not to knock Ben, I think he'll be okay there. He will help. He'll probably give them something similar to what they were getting from Nathan Beaulieu, but they need something more than that. And they probably will have to rely on some of their youngsters like Heinola, Sandberg in the playoffs, which good experience for them, but are they ready for that? And can they really contend without more experience back there? I guess we will find out here soon enough. And we also had another trade involving a defenseman. Going to the Vancouver Canucks for Jordy Benn was a 6th-round pick. And then, of course, the Canucks actually were involved in one more trade after trading Benn. They then made a deal with the Chicago Blackhawks and picked up defenseman Madison, Bowey. Obviously, Bowey gives him a little bit more cost certainty. A younger defenseman, still doesn't have a ton of NHL experience to his name. He's played with Detroit and a few other teams here, so we'll see how he does in Vancouver. He certainly will have a lot of competition with some of their younger defensemen for a regular spot, but he'll have an opportunity here for the last little bit of the season to audition and see how things go. So that, I believe, is your roundup of the rest of the deals. If there was any more deals that came in really late and I haven't covered yet, I will cover them here later this evening, but for right now, I believe we got it covered. That's NHL Trade Deadline 2021. It's been a very hectic, crazy day. A lot of deals have happened, counting the last day or two as well. A lot of movement, especially considering the pandemic and all the restrictions. NHL teams have been very, very busy. So let me know your thoughts on these deals down in the comments. I will be doing a little bit more of an analysis follow-up probably in the next day or so, like winners and losers, and giving my thoughts on how all these teams made out here as well. So stay tuned for that coming up soon. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.